Good morning, everybody. To many of you, welcome back. To those of you that are joining us for the first time today, welcome to our event. My name is Colin Matheson. I'm the Sales Director for Ormco in Asia Pacific, and on behalf of myself, my team, Sandra Diver, Bruce Arnold, and our distribution partners throughout the region, we would like to thank all of you for taking time to join us. Meetings like this are a very large undertaking and they don't happen by chance. And to begin the meeting, I would like to give special recognition to Sandra, who has very carefully selected every single speaker at this meeting. She's very careful about who she lets come to lecture in Asia. And so every speaker has been handpicked by Sandra. So thank you, Sandra, for all your efforts putting the event together. And also special recognition to two of our US event team, Lauren and Sue Kolb, who manages our US speakers, and our team at Accord in Thailand. They have been very busy and done a fantastic job, so I hope you appreciate their efforts. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about Dr. Damon at the start of the event. And we talked about his big head. And I think some people didn't understand. I don't mean that Dr. Damon has a big ego, because he absolutely does not. He is a very humble man. But he does have a big head. And we said how lucky it was that he did, because he was able to figure out, not only help us design brackets, but figure out a set of mechanics that put every one of us on a road, on a pathway, on a journey to success. And Dwight's work over many, many years did. It provided a framework. Over the next 2 days, we have a star-studded lineup of speakers that have been on that journey with Dwight. And you are going to see phenomenal cases. You will see updated information as they share their experience on that journey. So to kick off our meeting today, it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker. Dr. John Lin in Asia and many parts of the world requires no introduction. He graduated from Marquette University in the United States, practices in Taipei where he has a successful busy practice, but really is better known for his work on Class 3 malocclusion, where he is probably the world's leading expert. Today, he will share some of that experience with you and also talk about Class 2, Class 1 cases being treated with TADs, or as other speakers in the region like to call them, perhaps ortho bone screws. So it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage the best underwater photographer I know, John Lin. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Colin, for the wonderful introduction. At the beginning, I would like to have a big thank to Chris, because Chris and Sufan did a great job. I think all of you can reach this IJOI easily. Can you? Yes, that's good. And this is a world-class journal. And from every issue, I learned a lot. And thank you for Chris for doing such a great job, so we can learn a lot of clinical important things from this journal. Let's give a big hand to Chris. That's a lot of work. Yeah. Sufan, are you here? So not here yet. Yeah. But thank you very much anyway. And in this presentation, I also, at the beginning, I always appreciate how much Ramsey had helped me. He's not only an excellent orthodontist, but an excellent illustrator. So he helped me to me and Chris to express our ideas beautifully. At the beginning, as usual, I would like to introduce my underwater photography at the beginning. What's the difference between these two? In the old day, I used the slides, and now I use digital. What's the big difference? I use it as a comparison like a traditional and Damon and Pace. That's a big difference. So in the old day, I cannot get good pictures, but now I can get a lot of good pictures because of the change. And this video clip has been made by Chris. I love it so much. So every time I enjoy sharing with you about my recent photos. This photo is been taken in underwater on the Green Island of Taiwan. It's a beautiful, we have beautiful coral reef, world-class beautiful coral reef in Green Island. And this picture took at the Red Sea when we were just jumping into the water. This is what I'm going to share with you this morning. Combination of the tails and demon together. I like this statement very much. This is what Dwight talked about it. Challenge and commit yourself to be a far better astronomist today than you were yesterday. And I ask myself the question, yes, now I'm a new one because I'm using the demons. So thanks, Dr. Damon. So if I didn't change from traditional slide to the digital photography, I cannot have good underwater photo to share with you. Like now, today, if I don't switch to Demon and combine with taste, I cannot stand here and share with you. So we need to change. Think about change. If you dare not to change, you will never improve. At the beginning, I would like to share with you about evidence-based dentistry. People will say, oh, from all this systematic review, meta-analysis, clinical control trial, this is the conclusion. Demon versus conventional, no difference. Then we should ask those people why you are sitting here. If you think it's no difference. But this kind of statement, let me seek. Usually about this. About the treatment time, not faster, and not less painful, and more hygienic, maybe not. About all this conclusion, to me, most of the study, there are so much variables, not under good control. So all this statement, it really depends. So those conclusions, don't believe it. I'll explain why. And this is why I like Demon so much. Less friction, that's for sure. And more biological force. So less period issue will happen. Less extraction, that's for sure. and no need for palatal expander. A lot of Deming users still using the palatal expander. That's misuse of this wonderful appliance. Another major advantage is the variable torque options. It's so good. Later, I'll introduce it one by one. And about a screw, combined with screw is so good. While you are disserizing, if you're using the traditional edgewise, you're going to get a severe posterior open bite. And you use the IZC screw to use the class 3 elastic, you can easily disserize the low dentition. Regular edgewise, difficult to get this result. Also, for class 3, especially we are in Asian country, we have so many class 3 patients. This is a wonderful news for us. Meow effect. It means correct class 3 easily on straight wire. That's wonderful. And also, if you combine with buckle-shaped screw, you can disserize dentition easily without lingual-holding arch. All this, really, all those evidence-based dentistry, about evidence-based orthodontics, really needs concentrate on this field. None of the study emphasize this. This is what they need to study. Let's talk about extraction. This is a very famous blog, and this Kevin, he's emphasized about extraction still needed. He's really outdated. Let's see what he said. We have not found any evidence that extraction teeth as part of course of orthodontic treatment cause any harm to facial aesthetics. This is a really nonsense talk. Let me show you why. Just by this slide, I can show what he said is not right. This is the evidence. If you don't do proper diagnosis, you extract carelessly, you're going to create a face like this. We don't like. That's awful. Why? Why at the beginning, not so much crowding? The patient being removed 2 upper first spine, 2 lower first spine. Because according to his standard, lower incisor should be upright. So looking for this is really nonsense. And because of you looking for the lower incisor more upright, then you extract. Then you create this kind of face. This is harmful to the face. See more. Dr. Damon is so brave, show his own mistakes. See, he had created many dish-in face, especially in Caucasian. Extraction creates dish-in face. That's a common sense, isn't it? Do you still want to deny it? If you extraction carelessly, especially in Caucasian. So, Dr. Damon even opened the space again to get the Meriden bridge for this patient. Why? Because not right. So let's prove again. I can have thousands of evidence to say it causes any harm to facial aesthetic? Yes. There are so many evidence. This is for sure what he said is nonsense. And to me, this is a wonderful situation. You can see a crowding like this. In the old day, what do we do? We use open coil. We expand the tooth labially. Then we got gingival recession all the time. What happened? Then I have to count on a good periodontist like Nancy to fix it, put a grab on it. But now, recently, in these 10 years, after I using Damon, no more complaint from, no more referral to Nancy because it is, I'm sorry, I will switch off this. So in the old day, I had to count on Nancy to fix this problem. But now no more. Not as many as before, because very few situations I have that situation. You see, such a severe crowding. But now I don't even use the coil spring. I can engage it and align them. Of course, now maybe we open coil spring a little bit, but we are not afraid as much as before to create gingival recession so much. This is a life force and gentle to the tissue. This is a very important aspect But none of the so-called evidence study studied about this. This is the important part. So look at the tissue, look at the crowding. In the old day, we have extract for the space. Now, no more. We can against the old rule, extract for the space. No, we can extract for the face. So this face, of course, we don't extract. If we extract, there will be distant face. That's harm to the facial aesthetics. If you are good, you said, oh, Damon is just a bracket. Okay, show me an edgewise bracket, you can do the same job. Then I believe what you said. But actually, they cannot. Not at all, because they are rigid force, heavy force, they get resorption, like I have shown you. And please take a photo of this slide. Maybe the character is too small for you to read. But after you take a photo, you go back and you understand what I mean by this. So far, there are so many so-called evidence-based studies. Before you apply it in the Damon brackets, especially nowadays, Damon Q bracket, be careful. Why? All this, most of these studies are not about Damon. They are on SmartClip and other self-ligating bracket. They are different. So we are not going to talk about it. So don't, from this study and apply to Damon, no. And also, if you look carefully, the study is interesting. From about 11 years ago, from Damon SL, the most primitive Damon appliance, to nowadays, Damon Q. No, none of the studies related to Damon Q. Such an excellent appliance. So if you compare this, in the old days, the Damon 2, even for me, an experienced orthodontist, sometimes I try to open it, I pop up the bracket. And on Damon 3, sometimes it breaks. So when you are studying this, did you count on this effect? So forget those studies, because it's not on Damon Q, the latest one. Thanks for the Damon developed such a good bracket. Now, it's so really good self-ligating brackets. So remember the comparison. It's not fair to compare with that. So we always said that if that's not a fair comparison, apple and orange, because your samples are not homogeneous. If it's not homogeneous, it's a good evidence-based study. It's not at all. For example, here, this is one of the studies. You look at the sample, it's so scarce. Class 1, 2, 3, all different. And the class 1 on the self-ligating group, even much less. It means class 2, class 3, more difficult one will be more. And how can you compare the treatment efficiency between these two groups? That's nonsense. So there's a saying, giggle, garbage in, garbage out. Those samples are garbage to me. So many variables not under control. So can you rely on their so-called evidence-based conclusion? No. And this is more ironic study. It's being quoted so often. But to me, that's a garbage. Why? You see, innovation, speed, time, Activa, SmartClip, Damon, all the generation. So many different kind of brackets. Can you compare them together? That's not more than apple and orange. Let's compare all the fruits together. The end result means nothing. So I don't believe about this. One more example. This is people rely on this so much. Oh, because it's a randomized clinical trial. Let's see what kind of trial is this. Is it really reliable? It's very interesting. The study is about mandibular incisor irregularity index. If they are low crowding, they'll do the extraction. That's it. So simple. But remember, this is not in Oriental. This is in London. It means what? Extraction on Caucasian. That's bad thing most of the time. Extraction for the space. To me, this is not ethical at all. Can you randomize a group coming, this patient for Damon and this patient for conventional brackets? No way. You cannot do this. Why? Because we know Damon can do it non-extraction most of the time. But you allocate the patient randomly, it's very unethical. So this is a criteria, irregularity index between 5 and 12, you remove bicuspid, and then you do the study. That's a terrible study. Do the lower bicuspid extraction. Think about it. If it's a class 2, you don't care about the diagnosis. In the study, never mention anything about diagnosis. At class 2, you remove 2 verse by. What happened? Nightmare. So this is a nonsense study to me, and terrible Caucasian extraction treatment, and unethical, and the non-compatible mechanics. It's about these 3. Never mention anything about these 3 failures. Let's look at this case. The irregularity index almost 8. So follow this category. Will you do any extraction on this case? To me, I'll try my best to avoid it. So this is the case. Will you do the low extraction following that criteria? That criteria is too loose. We are not extraction for the space. We should extraction for the face. Luckily, we have Damon brackets. We can do it non-extraction beautifully, and you can see the soft tissue so healthy. In the old days, it's impossible. So to me, this evidence-based dentistry, so far, the randomized clinical trial, to me, is a joke. They didn't really do the good randomized clinical trial. The most important thing is show me a case. Show me a good case, then I follow you. So, actually, this so-called evidence-based need further good research. Let me show you one more example. Dr. Zachariason criticized about, oh, you use the Damon, you flare everything forward, you procline the lower incisor forward. So in his treatment, he'll try to avoid the lower incisor proclination. What he did, let's see this case. Expansion, proclination. So in this case, look at the facial profile at the beginning. I don't need to do so-called VTO. No need. Look at the profile now. This is non-extraction case. But what did he do? He did remove 2 upper first spine. That's nightmare. We'll try our best to procline the lower. I don't care how much I procline it. Get rid of the overjet by lower forward instead of upper extraction. You see, this is what happened right after treatment. You say, okay, this is for Caucasian, it's okay. You want to compare with the post-treatment result? Think about 30 years later, 40 years later. Then just 20 years later, it became such a dish-in face. That's terrible, because you are looking for avoid proclination of low incisors. And about evidence-based study, full of nonsense. This is another nonsense. Dr. Turley is famous or proposed that, if we disarticulate maxillary bone with the other facial bone, all the sutures, by RPE, then you get very good orthopedic protection. Let's see. But in his department, his own colleague did a study. It proves that you can protraction either with RPE or without RPE, the same. This is a very good randomized clinical trial. Did he follow? No. He didn't follow. He still lectured all through the world and talking about orthopedic. I don't see this as orthopedic at all. And you can see in the AAO 2013, 14, 16, he always emphasized about this disarticulation by the RME. So why do you do the study? So that's a very ironic situation. And about RPE versus Damon, really many good studies to prove it. Like recently in 2016 by Terry Dissinger's cases, they did it good result. Much better than conventional. Really get a good expansion. But then they deny it again. Why denial? Because they said, that's not a randomized clinical trial. That's really sad. Also, to me, one of major advantages is because we can disserize the dentition. If you are on the passive cellular getting bracket, you have much less. You see, on the left, much less posterior open bite. On the right, conventional bracket, you're going to fix the posterior open bite a lot because it's so rigid. And in the old day, we thought the Damon appliance had the lip bumper effect, so you are not afraid of flaring. That's not true. Actually, extraction, there's a lip bumper effect. Non-extraction, you're going to accept the consequence of the lower lip protrusion, lower incisor proclination, if there's no extraction. It means what? Like a case like this, very dish in. And after treatment, acceptable, because day one is so concave. So after treatment, it's very acceptable. Actually, there's a procline forward, but that's acceptable because day one, the patient's profile is so bad. This is my own case. Can I do it non-extraction? Yes. But I cannot avoid so-called lip bumper effect. I cannot stop low incisor flare forward. But some of the cases, it's okay. Because in this case, if I do it extraction, it will be a dish-in phase. But non-extraction, profile-wise, okay. But incisor did procline. So now let's discuss about this. This is the only extraction case in Dr. Damon's workbook. The only one. Why? Because in day one, it's severe crowding. But remember, this beginning profile is not as dish-in. At the beginning, we have shown two cases. They are so dish-in. This is a little bit full as a Caucasian. So after non-extraction treatment, flare forward, indeed. Then eventually, 4-bi removed to fix it. 4-bi removed to fix it. But if this case were treated today, it would be different perspective. For me, I put a test on, then I can avoid extraction. This is the following session. I'm going to talk about it. Let's talk about non-extraction treatment. In this textbook, in Sugawara's article, we know Sugawara is the inventor of the mini plate. That's great. Yeah, you can take a photo of this. You can read the article and know what I'm saying. Okay, Dr. Sugawara, he's so good. So he used 4 plates in this article. Used 4 plates to stop anterior crowding. Let's see. This is on the top about 4 millimeter crowding, on the lower about 5 millimeter crowding. So Sugawara tried to avoid extraction. So he put 4 mini plates to stop the crowding. And 4 plates, you can see 4 plates. 1, 2, 3, 4 plates. And the crowding stopped. Pretty good occlusion, but not too much retraction on the anteriors. If this were your case, will you do the same? Not for me. Why don't I use the monodistalization by use mini plate? In the old day, I thought mini plate is much easier. It's convenient. But look at this. Mini plate needs a big surgery. And you get another specialist to do it. In the old day, I thought 2 or 3 screws, that would be very good. But actually, 1 screw is convenient. And the surgery is quite comprehensive. You need a big flap, a specialist to do it. The key is here. You have to do it twice. After finish the treatment, you have to another surgery to remove it. That's a big problem. Pain and sweating again. So to me, it's much easier, convenient for if I can do the same job with the screw. This is one of my case, open bite. I try to use the mini plate. When my colleague just put the mini plate on her, I look at her. She neglected me. She just didn't see me. But with the tears in the eyes, you can see how much she suffered. After this photo, I will never put any mini plates on my patient for distalization. The beauty of using distalization combined with passive cell ligating bracket because it's so much less friction. So we can use the screw to retract the upper. Not only this, but also we retract the lower at the same time. So we can do both arch retraction. So you can do what? You can do severe crowding on both upper and lower arch easily. By what? By 2 screws only. 2 screws to solve this problem. How about class 2? the same. Class 2, the same. You retract the lower, you say, hey, this is a class 2. How come I retract the lower? Yes, a good class 2 correction, you need the lower incisor more upright, so you can reduce the object more. It's contrary to our traditional thinking, but that's what we do to get good result. I'll show all these cases later on. So again, both upper and lower arch. So not only by maxillary crowding, but also class 2 division 1 case can be done like this. Take advantage of less friction on the lower arch, and then we can retract. Let's look at this case. The profile is a little bit full, but not that full. For Oriental patient, that's okay. And she accepted, then think about the occlusion. The occlusion, you can see the canine is really not enough space. This is much more crowded than Sugawara's case. Look at the occlusal view, you can see it, much more crowding. In the old day, you would think about 4x extraction directly. But now, hold and think. Oh, now use 2 screws is enough to discharge both upper and lower. So that's how we put the screw and the IGC. And we double check on the Combin CT. You can see the screw IGG7 is outside the root of the 7. You see the 3 roots on the 7 and the buccal root is outside. So it means what? You can indefinitely retract the whole upper dentation easily. So indeed, we at the beginning bounding, and then we at the beginning, notice here. On the upper canine, I didn't engage it at the beginning. If you engage it, you align it very quickly, use the Demina Prime easy. But you flare the teeth forward. Try to avoid it. So until 21.1, that's enough space, then I engage it. So not much of the upper incisor proclination. And so you can see gradually from just about 7 months, you can see most of the teeth well aligned already. Gain enough space because I distalize upper and also lower. So this, the other side, you can see clearly we gain enough space, and then I engage the canine after gain enough space. So you can see this is after the treatment, and the teeth are more upright, and this is after the treatment profile. Look at the profile, and especially the profile is quite acceptable. Do it non-extraction. In the old day, if you just flare everything forward, that's not acceptable. So this is one case, and through the follow-up, still okay. Now more extreme case. How about this case? Can I deal with the 2 screws again? Let's see. A severe protrusion at 42.5. And you see the midline, the upper dental midline is deviated to left because left upper canine been removed because labially broke out, been removed for aesthetic reason, so the upper midline off to left already. So you can see by maxillary protrusion, upper severe, lower also procline forward. And this big overjet, how to treat this case? And you can see the lower 2 first molar already missing. And how to solve this asymmetrical problem? The left upper canine missed already, and how to make it midline on. So let's see how I did it. Trimming plan 1. That is common sense, of course. You're missing one canine on the left, and you have such big overjet. Why not just extract one more premolar on the right side? That'll solve the problem. So this extraction, and then we use that space, then midline's on. This is a perfect treatment plan according to traditional thinking. But since we are using the screws, we have to think it a little bit differently. Remember, we are going to use screw to distalize it. Maybe I can distalize more on the right side. Then I don't have to remove the canine bicuspid at all. So this will come up the second treatment plan, 2 screws. 2 screws, non-extraction. So we can use the screw to desterize it, and lower, of course, we maintain the space. Because the object now is big, so of course we open the space and for the molar. So this is at the beginning we put 2 screws, and the screw is really extraradicularly, and we retract. But during the retraction, so a lot of decision you have to modify, because now we are using a new appliance, not like the old day. It's really just 9 months. It took only 9 months. The patient's anterior crossbite happened. Originally big object, now anterior crossbite happened. So what's next? Do you still want to open the space for implant? Think about it. Maybe I can continue to desterize it. So now, maybe I can close the lower space completely. Maybe. So the next treatment plan will be different. How different? Then I'll close all the space. Get enough object so I can continue to retract more and more. So this, I showed the patient, said your ridge is really narrow. So if we try to close this edentulous space on the lower, you're going to get gingival recession. But the advantage is future periodontist can do a good graft on it. It's still okay, acceptable. You can have a new crown, then that's acceptable, instead of implant. Of course, patient gladly received this new treatment plan. So we continue to retract up and more. And of course, we close the lower space. So indeed, the lower space completely closed at the 45-1. So you can see how much we can really desterize the upper molar. So much. You can see, especially this is asymmetrical. You can see the right side a lot. And we can even correct the midline. See how much upper incisors have been retracted? And see the superimposition, you can see how much we have desterize the whole upper dentition. In the old day, we never dreamed about this at all. But now, it's happened most of the time. So this is the smile. And you can see the object and the uprighting, much more uprighting of upper incisors. And you can see the profile much improved. Almost impossible in the old day. How can you do it non-extraction? The good thing is I combine the taste and the Damon. Then I can do this routinely. So the follow-up, still okay. Follow-up, still okay. No problem, no relapse yet. Still in quite good condition. So now it's prepared for the perio graft. Then she'll be in good shape. So, I have shown you 2 cases. Easily, we can desterize both upper and lower. Class 2. How to place the ICC to get the reliable desterization. Now it comes to the key. Here, I think everyone can put a screw in. It's easy. But how to avoid screw up to get complication? Maybe you put a screw, you expect him to good desterization, but that's not moving. That happens. So I want to share with you how to place the screw in the right position as we expected. First, we have to come back to the definition. What is zygoma? We see the zygoma. Below it, infrazygoma. This is IZC, infrazygoma area. So in this IZC area, I like to roughly define into 2 areas. One is close to mesiobuccal root of the 6. I call it IZC6. The other is close to the mesiobuccal root of IZC7. I call it IZC7. So 2 areas. What's the difference between the 2? If we are from the buccal view, we from frontal section, you can see, if I mark it, you can see the bone outside the 7. It's much, much thicker than the bone outside the 6. So it's common sense. If I put the bone screw on IZC7, it will be better. That's for sure. That's why on my second edition book, I emphasize all the time, put the IGC7. It's easy to press. Really, the screw is extra-radicularly. It's outside the root. That's what we want. So you can achieve the distalization as you want. Let's see it again from the axial view. Let me mark it down. Axial view from the CEJ up to 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter, 6 millimeter to 8 millimeter. The higher you have more zone, like green zone, that's for IGC7. Outside the 7, the root of 7. Outside the root of 6 is so narrow. That's why I emphasize IGC7. It's much better, easy to place. It's extraradicularly. This is the diagram run-seated beautifully. You can see IGC7 so thick. You can do it easily. Most of the time, extraradicularly. So we are looking for more than maximal anchorage. If you adjust maximal anchorage for retraction anteriorities back, we are looking for more than that. So this is 2-screw whole arch distalization. You should not have the root interference. If the root are unaware of interference, you cannot distalize as you want. This is the old concept I have. Traditionally, regularly, in the whole world, still this is a popular thinking. Oh, I put the screw right in the middle. Why right in the middle? To avoid root damage, like in between the roots. That's a very popular concept. But I proposed in Taiwan, we mostly put it on IGC7 because we thought that's extraradicularly. The term means no root interference, outside the root. That's wonderful. But is it really wonderful all the time? Let's see, there's an example. I put at IGC6. After 9 months, retraction, retraction, retraction. It's just not moving, not moving. You can see the canine and canine maintains class 2 through all the time, not moving. Then you should think about it. Something happened. Look at this PA view. It seems that your screw is so long, but it seems outside the roots. Looks like okay. Is it really okay? Yeah, seems, but actually, 3-dimension, it's difficult for you to see it from here. So let's see it again. Combin CT, axial view, so clearly, obviously. This is a screw right behind the mesiobuccal root. It means what? You pull for 1 year, nothing will happen because it's been stopped. And now that retrospectively, without Combin CT, can we see it? Yes. It's so obvious. Look at the Panorex again. It's here. Because it's stopped. Let's look at the Combin CT. Look at here. I draw the mesiobuccal root. You are placing the screw right behind the mesiobuccal root. It means what? You interfere the root movement. The whole dentition cannot move back because your screw is on the way. So we should try our best to avoid this situation. Otherwise, you cannot have a good distalization. So we put an IGC7 far back, and it's an extraradicularly new IGC7 screw. So you see, then we switch to the more posterior screw, and now we retract again in just 8 months. You see, the canine from class 2 now to class 1. After you have been placing the screw in the right place, no root interference. Now how about 7? I have just mentioned 7 usually, most of the time, extraradicularly. Extraradicularly, it means safe. You can use the IGC7 most of the time to distalize all the dentition. Is that right? Let me show you one example. You'll change the concept. You see, this case been retracted for how long? 4 months, and not moving. The same, class 2 canine, about the same. So we double check again. Now you have experience Do I need a common CT to see it? No need. You see, your screw is right behind the medial buccal root, upper 7. You can see it just from the Panorex. You can see it so clearly. Now from the experience. So not necessarily all the IgG7 are really extraradicularly. It depends. Some situations still intraradicularly, especially behind the medial buccal root. Then you cannot move the dentition at all. So this is confirmed by the axial view of the common CT. You can see it so clearly. So it's stopped. So actually, screw into the sinus is really okay. You see, we have many times, if you put buccal-shaped screw, you try to avoid sinus penetration, no way. A lot of chance, maybe more than 60% you get hit into the sinus. But that's okay. We have been done so many DEFO1 cases with the screw penetrate the sinus. Did you see any problem? No. So don't worry about the screw into the sinus. But you should care about the screw being stopped by the root. So this is, we can extract, we have make an analog, and we see the relationship between the screw and the root. This is what happens here. So we put a new screw right in front of the 7, right in front, not behind. So this, after placing the new screw, you can see originally class 2 easily in 4 months. It's back to class 1 now. Because the screw, no interference. So from here, I think about it. If I put a screw on the top, it's 12 millimeter one. I routinely use the 12 millimeter one. But now look at this. If I cut short 8 millimeter, oh, it's much better. It's much, much better. Why? Then the original interference is gone. So not the longer, the better. No. In here, it proves if the screw shorter will be good, especially if you don't leave the screw head too much outside in the oral cavity, then no need to be that long. If you're interested, thanks to Dr. Roberts, helped me editing this article from the beginning to the end. This is a wonderful article for you to read. Please take a photo of it, and it'll be a good reference for you if you want to know in depth about this root interference. It's very practical for your clinical practice to avoid this kind of problem. Then you can do reliable monodistrization. Screw retention. About the stability, there are 2 types. One is so-called primary, because the mechanical engagement. That's primary stability. The other one is secondary, because osseointegration. But we are using stainless steel screw in Taiwan mostly. So the stability mostly comes from primary stability, mechanical retention. And the primary test stability comes from where? Because you hold screw inside the bone. Oh, a lot of it? No. The basic important part is cortical bone. Cortical bone is what it counts. Lesser stability coming from medullary bone. That's not much. And let's think about the gingiva thickness. The gingiva thickness, on average, on the maxillary bone, is about 1 to 1.2 millimeters. Let's maximize it to 1.5 millimeter. And let's think about the cortical bone thickness. Since the cortical bone is the primary stability comes from. So let's see in this article, it points out the maxillary cortical bone thickness is around 1 to 1.3, maximized to 1.5. That's what we're going to have, gingiva thickness and the cortical bone thickness. If you are thinking about the screw length, that's what I'm going to talk about. This is the screw I engaged on this 12 millimeter screw. I engage into the bone. And you can see this part is the most critical part, cortical engagement. That's what it counts, very critical part. And we have 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 from the attached gingiva. And usually I put it quite close to the mucosa. So it means about the outer part of the screw about 1.5 millimeter. So in total, let's see how much. So thanks to Langsi, this excellent diagram to illustrate for 8 millimeter usually is enough. Remember, we have maximized all these steps. The gingiva we maximize to 1.5. Cortical bone we maximize to 1.5. Actually, it's just about 1.3 only. So you maximize it, you still have 3.5 in the medullary bone. So you have more than enough. If you use 12 millimeter one, if you don't leave the head outside long enough, like Chris did this about 4 millimeter, then like I did on the 8 millimeter one. So that's about the same. So it depends on your habit of using the screw. I press it quite close to the mucosa. I leave it 1.5. So for me, according to my habitual use, I use 8 millimeter. That's enough. Too long, you get the problem of maybe on the way of the root. Because you look at all those anatomy, you know those zones are really limited. So this is now, my conclusion is, usually on the upper, I use the 8 millimeter one so I can avoid the root interference, so I can distalize as much as I want. So in summary of this screw in root interference, first of all, I am right-handed. I put it on left side, I have interference more. Why? I put it more distally. So a lot of chance I put it on the mesial-buccal root distal side. It's interesting. If you're left-handed, maybe more happen on the right side. Yeah. And the screw, more distal apical direction than usual. And IgG6 happens interference more. That's common sense because we know outside the extraradicular of 6 is so thin. And 12 millimeter more root interference because you're too long to get the interference. If you're inside the bone are so much. And if you are in doubt of interference, check the Combin CT. For sure you can understand the situation. So how do you get the failure-proof distalization? That's very important. Now I change the concept as in the old day. In the old day I said, oh, I put in the IG7 will be safe. No. Sometimes I still put on the IG7, but it's distal to the distal buccal root, mesial buccal root of upper 7. That's not what I want. So the point here is mesial buccal root of upper molars, 6 or 7. Why? Let's see. Remember we mentioned about traditional concept. I thought the right side should be extraradicularly like this. So we can distalize all the way back. How about a new concept? This is the new concept. New concept is I try to put, in the old day I mostly limited to the 7, but sometimes 7 is too far back. If 6 I can use, it will be good. So a lot of time I use 6. How to use 6? Try to put it mesial to the mesial buccal root. Then, why? Because then there's plenty, let's see, emphasize it. You can see, then you still got enough leeway. You don't have to be extraradicular to distalize everything a lot. We don't distalize a lot. You distalize 2 or 3 millimeters. It's plenty enough to correct the class 2 or crowding. So enough leeway between the screw and the root in front. That's the key. So now that's my goal. Of course, mostly IgG6 will be interradicularly. And IgG7, a lot of time will be extraradicularly. But if I use this as a landmark, I always safe. I don't worry about maybe some IgG7 maybe too far back behind the mesial buccal root of upper 7. I'm worried no more. So this is a kind of guarantee. It's nice to do it this way. Now let's look at case like this. This case is more than maximal anchorage. Because you remove the bicuspid, you need still retract more to get rid of the protrusion. Too much crowding here. So for sure, more than maximal anchorage. So the screw should be enough leeway for distalize the whole upper dentation later on. How do I put the screw? Guarantee I can distalize after even all the extraction space closed. It's simple. Initial, you can put a screw roughly, maybe 1 or 2 millimeter engagement on the bone, roughly. And then get the patient to take the apical film. You get the film. And then from the film, you modify a little bit. I want to put it mesial of the root. You modify anterior posteriorly, vertically. Then you put the final screw position into the final one. So the first screw apical film get you a guide. By this guide, you get this really final position. So now there's plenty of leeway between the screw and the root in front. So this IGC6 will be very useful later on, more than maximal anchorage. I can distalize the whole dentation back easily. How do I call this method? It's double film method with the screw. Double film. Because first film, you try the screw and do it. And this is thanks to my colleague, Leslie, has a great idea. I said, oh, this is good. By doing this, I don't have bother just looking for IGC7 only. I can do it IGC6. So from the initial to final double film method, so you know at the beginning you have the initial engagement, and then you modify to put the screw in the right place. And you can see there's still enough space, enough gap to do it. And interreticular IGC6, you can see the screw is really between the root. It's okay, but as close to the mesial buccal root of upper 6 as possible. Why? Then you get enough space for distalization. The other side the same. You are between the roots. Between the root is okay, but try to do it this way. So this is a 3D image. You can see the real root, premolar, and the screw. There's plenty of space between. Of course, it's not easy to look at it carefully. You can see it. You can see the screw close to the 6, and still a gap between 6 and upper 5. So axial view is the best way to go, but this way sometimes you can reconfirm it. So this is the initial, and this is the final, and we get double film method with the screw. What's the disadvantage of this method? This is the disadvantage. Saliva contamination. First of all, you have the screw, and after the patient to take the first film, then saliva contamination. And you remove the screw and then screw it again, put it in the right position, contamination. And also, your engagement, that's a damage to the cortical plate. And cortical plate are so thin. We don't want, that area is so narrow. We don't want to damage it. This is a damage to it. So can we improve this double film method? Yes, there's a new method I'm going to introduce to you. That is dot pin head. You get a dot pin and cut off the head. And with head, you can put this head on a so-called canker sore patch. I think everywhere you can get the canker sore patch, but not too big, small one. And then you put the dot pin right in the middle. And you put the dot pin and then press it on the site you suspect to, you're supposed to put it. And then you take the X-ray film. You can see the dot there. Can you see the dot here? The dot. That's the dot pin. Show you the position. Oh, this position is quite good. So then you put the screw. Real screw is really follow that. So this is a so-called double pin method. Dot pin method. Use the canker sore pad. The disadvantage of using this is it's not transparent. I don't like it. So I look all over the market about a Kenkasol patch. None is a good one because I'm looking for a clear one. So a trip to the States, I find a good one. The name is Comfort Brace. This is a clear one. It's good. Originally to protection the braces irritation to the mouth. So it is a clear strip. So you can get a piece of this and then cut a small piece like this. How do I do it? I peel it off and put a screw and then put it in the mouth and then press it really hard, very firm. So this pinhead, that pinhead, will get a dimple on the mucosa. So this is a dimple. You can see the number 3. You can see the dimple here very clearly. And then you follow it. Oh, this should be distal a little bit, distal a little bit. Oh, okay, right mesial to the mesiobuccal root. So you can put it really reliably in the correct position. So this so-called double film method using the Comfort Brace strips is nice. Now I show you a couple more cases. I follow this protocol so I can predictably put a screw in a really, either it's extraradicular, interradicular, doesn't matter. Look at this profile. I'll try my best to avoid extraction. I know if I extract, it'll be dish in. And you can see the upper midline off to the right because there's one premolar missing on the right side. And if you look at the occlusion, oh, so much crowding on the lower. Usually then we have to think about extraction. But we, for sure, we will not follow that London study. That's crazily. Just look at the crowding, irregularity index larger than 5, then do the extraction. This is larger than 5, then you do extraction. It will be miserable for this patient. So we do non-extraction. What did we do? The same protocol. Upper 2 screw and lower, use the IGC class 3 elastics to retract it. So this is day 1, we put the screws on. So I use the differential force. One side retract more, the other side retraction less. Then eventually, you can see these 2 screws here. This 2 screw on the left side is really extraradicularly. You can see it. But on the right side, the screw is between the roots. But it's fine. Why? Because right in front of the distal buccal root of upper 6, there's a still space. So this case been treated. So it's been done. We didn't ruin the face. The face is still okay, and the teeth are well aligned. The teeth are well aligned, and the midline is on now. It's easy to correct the facial asymmetry, facial midline off by the 2 screws easily. Differential force, and then you get this correction. So the final, you can see the settle of the posterior occlusion quite well. If you are using the regular, I don't think you can distalize as much. One more. This is a class 2, lip incompetence. And the mentalis strained. Of course, in the old day, look at this case, class 2, such a huge object. You think about extraction right away. But now we have to think differently. If I use the 2 screw, what's the advantage? I can not only distalize the upper. Our goal is better. So you wonder why? Why you use class 3 on this case? Yes, I use class 3 on this case to get a better result. That's important, to get a better result. How come? Because I get the lower incisor more uprighted instead of proclining forward, so I can retract up more. So it's different from the traditional concept. Traditional concept, you align, level, and then, oh, I procline. You create by max. So the screw, you have to take advantage of the screw advantage. So on the class 2 case, we use class 3 elastics. So this is the big object we see. And remember, if you want to distalize the lower dentition, the best way is remove the lower third molar in day 1. That's very important. Otherwise, it'll be on the way. But this patient refused. Okay, if you refuse, then I still, maybe lower incisor not upright that much. Maybe upper, I still can retract. So I said the result will be compromised. He said, okay. I had to remove the molar. Okay, let's do it. So we put 2 screws and follow the same protocol, class 3 elastic and class 2 case, and upper retraction. So you can see, you can create so much space behind the lateral incisor, just like an extraction case on non-extraction. We create a space. By what? Distalization, by reliable distalization of the whole upper dentition back. So we close all the space, and then it's done. So you can see it. The result, just like extraction case. And we get the lower incisor uprighted and upper incisor retracted. More than we want. So this is the harmonized phase. So the patient like it. And of course, you can see the lower second molar so uprighted. The relationship with the third molar. But that's fine. And we check at the Comin at the several metrics. You can see we have distalized upper dentition a lot and the upper incisor retract a lot. So this is the final occlusion and much more uprighted. And the lower, no more mentalis strain and no more protrusion. That's a good option for him. And after the follow-up, a year and 3 months follow-up, still okay. And we double-check with the Comin CT. Luckily, this third molar is impacted more buccally instead of right distal. So we still managed to upright the lower molar back. So this is the follow-up, still good. One more. I can show you this over and over, but I just show you some typical cases I have. Like this one, lip incompetence. You can see a little bit too short. And the high canine. And a little bit protrusion. First thing first, do you care about your lip protrusion? No, that's not my main concern. Then it's okay. I can stop the crowding, but maybe I cannot because not 4-by extraction. Maybe I cannot get the lip really like a 4-by extraction case. So in day 1, explain to the patient, and patient said, just alignment is what I want. Okay, then you can do this method. So this is the crowding, totally block out the right upper canine. In the old day, routinely 4-by. That's a 4-by, no doubt about it. And can we do it? Do we need 4 plates? Of course. Now you all know the protocol. 2 screws on the upper. So I put 2 screws on the upper. And the same protocol. I just retract. And the key is both screw outside the root. It's IGC7. So beautifully extravascularly. And then we retract. Notice here. Please don't engage the canine at this moment. Because you engage the canine, you procline everything forward. So you can see, when do we engage the canine? We went until 23/6, almost a year. We get enough space, then we engage it. So we engage it instead of procline, we will align it. So you need to create enough space. And you say, oh, why this is the side we need space. But remember, this side we also need distalization. For what purpose? For correction of the midline. Don't forget, at the midline, because of the canine infection, mandibular breakout, so the midline is deviated to the right. So we create enough space. And then engage. So let's look at the buccal view closely. Again, we gain enough space. So this kind of distalization, I did it on an 014 copper 9 tie since the day 1 I bound it. I retract gradually. In the old day, I label align and then use the thick wire and then use coil spring to retract everything back. So a lot of time, I'll create protrusion and then retraction. That's a round trip. So nowadays, day 1, I retract them. And also I retract the lower at the same time. The other side, remember, we are using it to correct the midline. So now midline, Midnight is more on now. So this is during the treatment, and you can see how much we can desterize the molar as long as you put the root, no root interference. And both upper and lower arch have been retracted. And since we can align the canine, maybe not enough. We want to do more. So we continue to retract, and the class 3 elastic. So combination, we continue to do it. Do it. So finally, it's been done. And you can see more than canine alignment. We also retract the procline inside the back. We also get the good result of that. So you can see most of the teeth more uprighted. And this is the end result. You can see the upper midline much more on now. Originally deviate to right side, now because of a differential retraction. You ask me, Dr. Lin, are you using the same camera? Yes, I use the same camera. The same patient? Yes, of course. What happened here? I call it a Botox effect. Like injecting Botox. A lot of my patients that happened. I think in your case it's the same. But this is quite dramatic. I keep asking my assistant, did you use another camera? Did you use another lens? So the different kind of magnification? No. But the patient loves it very much. So this is the end result. So it's a 3 incisor case. So in this case, we have done this way. So the first part, I'll end it with this summary. Simple and efficient way of using tears, non-extraction, then you can do it more. And if possible, no tears is still better, the first choice. Screw, for sure, better than plate. Buckle screw, then parallel screw. It's easy. And the direct anchorage, that's what I have shown you all the time. That's the direct anchorage. So fewer screws than more screws, or even more plates. We have comparison with the 4 plates. Okay, so this will be the end of the first session. And thank you. We'll continue my favorite part, the class 3 session. Let's look at these 2 cases. If this were your case, which one is more severe? The upper one or lower one? You think lower one, raise your hand. Okay, upper one? Okay, mostly agreed. The lower one is more difficult. And the patient, it's really common sense. Whether this patient needs surgery or not, really common sense. But the textbook make it confused. Let's see. This is a textbook case. And the bottom one is my case. Which one should be surgically done? Which one? I think both, for me, kind of orthodontic profile. Good. To me, the lower lip protrusion is the key. If I can solve this problem, that'll be easy. Both of them, I think dentally I can do it. But if you are dentally, you cannot correct this anterior crossbite. You thought that is difficult, then what will you do? Surgery. That's what happened. That's why in the adult patient, it's really easy to make the diagnosis. Profile is good, then most of the case I can do it. You can do it. This is from the Profit's textbook, and you can see this case from the 3-circle diagnosis. Profile is so good. Why do you do the surgery? But they did surgery anyway because they cannot treat this class 3 malocclusion. That's a problem. So they did the surgery. The 4-1, BSSO on the lower, so that's a 2-jaw surgery. And this, because their diagnosis is maxillary deficiency. But to me, that's lower lip protrusion. So what about the end result? Is it good? You have paid so much. Surgery. In the States, that's so expensive. To me, this is a failure case. under the failure diagnosis. No need to do surgery on this kind of case. Even the end result is not good. For a Caucasian patient, originally the lip is much better than this. This has become protrusion. Not good. So my treatment protocol is really easy, simple. Combine TACE and Damon is so easy. So, or buccal shelf screw, IGG screw, or both. That's it. Let's see with the PSL system first. In the old day, we try our best to get rid of the crossbite on the class 3 patients. This concept should be corrected. Remember, some of the patients, after correction of the crossbite, they'll complain. Dr. Lin, originally I have crossbite, anterior crossbite, but now I can become upper protrusion. Too much. I don't like this. That happens quite often. So anterior, get rid of the crossbite is not our first priority. The important thing is keep upper incisor upright. That's very important. You use the class 3 elastics, you get rid of the crossbite. Of course, you should pay your attention to avoid flaring of upper incisors. And using the Damon is good. You can get the very good Schuper-Lotok bracket easily. Then you can avoid this. On the lower, you avoid dumping of the lower incisor. And then you need high torque. You need high torque. And how to get this? This routinely, their variable torque is one of the major advantages on Damon Q. You have to use it. And on the class 3, we use the upper routinely. I put it standard upside down. Then that's a Schuper-Lotok. It's wonderful. You have so many options. And put it upside down. I get this idea from Tom Pitts. That's a very brilliant idea. And thanks to him, I have the major advantage. In a lot of cases, we have done it beautifully. And the lower, original low torque, you put it upside down, become high torque. So that's what I treat most of the class 3, easily. Do you think this is a surgical case? Look at the profile, so good. It's asymmetry. Ask, are you care about the asymmetry? No. Then orthodontic is fine. But look at the occlusion. The occlusion looked like this. Is that an orthodontic case? In the old days, that would be tough. But now, with the Damon, it's easy. Because Damon has the Meow effect. As long as you use class 3 elastic, it can be done. So this case, it's a big class 3, all right? We, as the protocol, upper standard upside down, lower low torque upside down, so we get high torque on the lower, upper Schuper-Lotok. So we maintain upper quite upright, and lower we maintain it quite upright also. So this is just class 3 elastics on a straight wire. How wonderful. So we get this kind of occlusion easily and get a good result. And you can see the lower molar quite upright after I remove the lower third molar. We have enough space to upright and retract. This is the end result. We managed to keep upper incisor quite upright. That's patient wants. So look at this cephalometric superimposition. You almost cannot believe it. Is that true? Yes, that's true. Damon only can achieve the result like using the Meow. And you see how much we can disterize the molar, so much. No screw. It's about the same as like using screw. It's amazing. So you said, then what situation you use screw now, you use this Damon only? Basic principle. If the upper incisor is quite upright, it's okay, then I use just a Meow. Damon's Meow effect. Straight wire, class 3, then I can get this result. So it's been done in 19 months, and after almost 6 months follow-up, still okay? Still there? No problem. So for a class 3, using the Damon is so easy. All you need to do is pick up the right torque options. And then class 3 elastics. This is the old day. The old day at 14.1, you get rid of the crossbar. At 18.6, it come back again. It's a common phenomenon in class 3, the leg growth. And when this leg growth happens, what do? I get rid of the anterior crossbar. This is about 15 years ago's case. What did I do? I use this meow. That's the meow. I think doctor from Korea know meow. From Japan, no meow. From Taiwan, no meow. Because this is Dr. Yang Kim. He developed this best technique to get rid of crossbite, get rid of open bite beautifully. So it's very popular in Asian country. But now, we don't need to use this. See? This is a big class 3. Again, using straight wire and class 3 elastic. That's it. That's it. It's beautiful. You don't have to bend loops. So, Damon has a meow effect. That's a big news, but not too many people appreciate it. Whenever you are using Damon and on a class 3, you just use a simple straight wire. Please don't use Damon and also use the meow. In Chinese, that is 不妙. Then that's not good. Because in Chinese lecture, I have seen them routinely because Damon influence in Xi'an, in China. So they present case, use beautiful Damon brackets, and use fancy meow on the Damon brackets. That's a waste of the bracket. Such a beautiful straight wire technique, you waste it. Of course, you said, if without wire bending, not an orthodontist, then you can do it. How to explain? I don't know. Maybe the play in the system. The only thing I can explain is play in the system so you can achieve the meow-like effect. Please take a photo of this case so you go home, you can appreciate what I said. This is a case published in China. The author is from Dr. Bai. I think you're familiar with him a long time ago. He was here in the Damon Forum. Dr. Bai and his student did this case. Because meow is a big influence, so this class 3, they used the meow first. And eventually, after the meow, the teeth flare forward. So he adopted Tom's technique, put the bracket upside down, so the insides are upright more. And but just upright more is not enough. Low should be retract. So he used the buckle-shaped screw to retract the low. That's the story. Let me show you. This is at the beginning. This kind of case should be careful. If you purely use Damon, you'll be careful because upper incisors are already procrine already. After treatment, you use more class 3, you get more procrine. But if I use the Damon, I can use low torque. Then make it less. But retraction of low, you see, this is using the meow. What happened here? You look at the severometric superimposition. If you can see clearly, it's very protruding now. Because use a lot of class 3 elastic on this meow loop. Class 3 elastic, flare the incisor forward. That's not good. Especially in this meow wire, there's no torque selection on the anterior teeth. It's difficult. So then how to fix it? So he used the buckle-shaped screw to retract the lower. And the upper, as Tom's method, put the bracket upside down to get the low torque effect. Still finish with a little bit full. So if day 1, use the screw instead of using this method, maybe better. So remember here what I brought up. Why I brought up this? Because it's a meow and Damon that's different. Damon has the meow effect, but meow has no different effect. What I mean? Okay, class 3 elastic. You use too much class 3 elastic, you're going to flare the incisor forward. That's not good. And you have complicated wire bending and difficult for the patient oral hygiene-wise. But this is easy oral hygiene, straight wire, and more talk options. So that's why I prefer use Damon. Look at this profile again. As my 3 circles, diagnosis. The most important one is the profile. Profile is the key to make the proper diagnosis. From the profile-wise, will you do surgery on this case? No way, no way. Only the lip, lower lip, a little bit protrusion. That's it. So you can see the occlusion is asymmetry and a kind of class 3, quite big class 3. Can we do it? And the most important is, do we need RPE? That's a very bad habit, to look at a class 3 and think about RPE. That's bad. Actually, the arch is not that narrow. If I follow the ABO standard, that's below -2. This patient has -4 degree AMB. It means what? Skeletal class 3. I don't like the term here. You say skeletal means terrible, means surgery. That's not a good term. I rather look at the profile. It's okay, only the lip protrusion. Also, don't think I can do it. So profile is more important according to diagnosis. So before you jump into the conclusion about this, expansion, RPE, wait. You have the model. Take out the model. Put the model in class 1. You see beautifully the crossbite gun. What is this? This is a relative posterior crossbite. You don't need to do it. You just correct the AP, the transverse will be correct by itself. At most, sometimes you use a little bit crossbite elastic, but for sure, no need to do RPE or RME. Because if you really do need RPE, RME, I think Damon can do it. This Ramsey did a wonderful diagram. This is AP. Make it crossbite. Whenever the AP is corrected to class 1, no more crossbite. Transverse solved. Remember this relative posterior crossbite. It's not about class 3 like this. Now there are a new trend, a crazy trend. People follow this so-called Unmun method. Actually, let's follow another Dr. Ki Jun Lee's method. We call it MAPI. In Chinese, it's MAPI. Don't say MAPI. Don't do MAPI carelessly. MAPI. And he modified it, so-called MSE. It is, if you search on the internet, it's the hottest orthodontic issue in the whole world so far. So he is very hot. He's very popular. But to me, what he is talking is nonsense. He did this. More than RPE. He did a screw-assisted RPE. Oh, sounds fantastic. Whenever you show a case, I said, I use this. Show me a case. Luckily, from the internet, there's an e-book. In that e-book, I bought it, $100. Just get this book. Get this case to share with you. You don't need to buy it. I share with you. This is a class 3 growing patient. If she were my patient, it's really easy. Why? I look at the E-space. Did you see the E-space? This is huge. I'm not going to rush into the treatment, get rid of the crossbite. Remember, get rid of crossbite, not a good thing. I use the E-space. I maintain E-space with the lingual holding arch. Later on, fix it very easily. Retract the lower. Keep good upper nasolabial angle. As simple as that. But I don't know what's the criteria they use this. They're protraction. They're protraction for nothing. They are not thinking. You just think protraction will be bad for this patient, isn't it? This is common sense. But they just blindly use this appliance so-called orthopedic, and then project. What happened? What happened? Look at this here. How much e-space has been wasted? See, eventually the 4 so small, 4 and 5 so small. How much you have wasted? You project everything forward. This is the end result after projection. Become a Bimax. I don't know what's the treatment plan for. And then now you create a problem, you have to solve it. Indeed, he solved the problem. He put 4 more screws. Really screw up this patient. You see? Screw, 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 screw. To retract back again. We call this round trip. So you protract with 2 screws, surgical assisted, 4 screws, and then 4 more screws. So there will be 8 screws. Actually, non-screw is needed in this case. If you make proper diagnosis. And also, it's very popular in Western country. They prefer use so-called buckle, use the palatal expander, and something like this. To me, this is kind of more like a pseudo class 3. It's a collapse problem. The upper arch collapsed too much. For me, in this case, it's easy. I expand, open the space for a second, and then align the canine. Easily get fuller profile. In this case, been done. No need to use the screw at all. What did he do? Collapse type pseudo class 3. If this were your kid, will you do this? No. This is child abuse. 2 screws. And these 2 screws, supposedly, orthopedic projection. Remember this term, orthopedic projection. That's what they claimed by using RPE and the screw together. Let's see the result. Oh, this is the result. Oh, it seems much better now. What's the problem here? The problem here is, let's see, is it really an orthopedic? You see, beginning, end. But if you trace the incisor inclination, is that really orthopedic? No. It's dental movement, even with the screw. So now create iatrogenic problem again. You procline, get rid of the crossbite now. Now you have to remove at least 2 upper first bicuspid. Why? Otherwise, no space. But at the beginning, I don't procline it forward because now upper incisor proclines so much forward. So this is under misdiagnosis and under mistreatment. Remember, don't do this. So now let's go back. This kind of over-treatment, be careful. This is one of my case. Looks terrible. I call it more kind of like a pseudo class 3 collapse. If it is collapse, you expand back. So this case, I just expand, upper expand. No screw. And I get enough space, then get rid of the crossbite, and enough space for the upper premolar region. Upper premolar region. The same case, but easy way, no screw. And please take photo of this. I think do I lecture a lot about this, but you still don't remember. Whenever you want to do RPE, please remember this picture. Please take a photo of it. And remember, in the old days, this kind of case, RPE for sure. But amazingly. And the most beautiful part, people will criticize that expansion by Damon, that's dental expansion. That's what they said. But look at the axis of upper molar, premolar. It's quite upright. Is that the dental? No. You like to call it orthopedic? It's orthopedic. So, and it's healthy gingival tissue. So in the old day, it had to be RPE, but no more. That's such a beautiful thing, but people just keep saying, you are not faster, so compare systematic review. You should review like this. This is the most important part. And a case like this, narrow upper arch, expand like this. This is mission impossible. Just them and only. Them and only. Picture of this case for sure. Remember, whenever you want to put RPE, think about this. If this only happen in a Caucasian patient, this is my own patient. It happens too. I think all of you, if you use it long enough, you'll have many, many cases. Look at this case. A class 3, an open bite, narrow upper arch. RPE, no more. No more RPE. So this case, we can expand it. Usually in the old day, we thought, oh, this is so narrow, so crowded. We use the arch wire. Then, of course, you expand. But how about the original? It's narrow. How do you get the expansion like this? It's easy. You just expand the arch wire. Usually I use 19 by 25. Then you just expand them. And you said, did you use a buccal root torque, buccal crown torque to control the molar region? I didn't. And that's the beauty of using this system. It can expand beautifully. So expansion with 16 by 25 screw. So this case been done. Smile, much fuller smile. So it happens as long as you use this system. Don't doubt about it. The expansion. And for Chinese patients, most of them before surgery, if you put the model, try to coordinate them, a lot of time upper molar too wide instead of narrow. So RPE concept should be corrected. And come back to this case again. We pick up the torque option and the class 3 elastic again. Then this case been done. Again, look at how much molar can be distalized. So this case, again, you see it, the Miao effect. Miao effect. Again, it skeletally AMB minus 4. It means nothing to me. The most important thing is the beginning profile. As long as it's acceptable, only the lower lip protrusion, I can do it. You can do it. So now let's come to buccal shelf screw. This is in my old book. I emphasize a lot. We are quite proud of this. I use the buccal shelf screw really outside the root. Then we can distalize the whole dentition. Cortical plate is much thicker than upper. So in the lower, I use 10 to 12 millimeter screw instead of 8 millimeter one. And the people said, oh, why not put the screw here? Retromolar area is not that good. Why? Because you cannot direct retract. This will be on the way. You can do only indirect. So this area is not that good. How about this area? Buccal to it. This is not good. Thanks for Dr. Chen's slide. You use the buccal shelf screw. This area, you get information easily. So much soft tissue insertion there. So the screw is still firm. You have to remove it. So this area not good. The best area is here. Buccal shelf, outside the 6 and 7. As long as you place it good enough, then you can get good result. If the slope of the buccal shelf is flat enough, self-treating usually can get a good buccal shelf screw. And this is a case, the student asked me, Dr. Lin, I follow your protocol. And this has been retracted for a long time, 6 months. But it's not moving. You see, class 3, maintain class 3. You say buccal shelf screw is easy. Not moving. Why? The same. You check the common CT. It's right behind the root. It's interradicularly. It's okay to place between the root. But the best way, of course, outside the root. But if you place it closer to the medial buccal root of the second, then you have plenty of space. But this is right behind the distal root. So you stopped. That's why it's not moving. So that side is stopped. Try avoid the mucosa, especially the movable mucosa. You get inflammation, even though the screw is still firm. How about low thermometer? Can low thermometer prevent your desterilization? No. Even thermometer present, I still can desterilize it. But the problem is, you can see the original thermometer impacted more. Now you need a good surgeon to remove it. That's a problem. So in day one, better remove it. Come back to the first case. The lower lip kind of protrusion, lower lip protrusion. We want to retract the lower. Of course, not surgery on this case. So let's look at the open bite. It's quite severe. And then we put the 2 buccal-shaped screw. Beautifully, you can see from the PSF, it's really extraradicularly. And if you are not sure, check on the common CT. You cut, you see the screw position, it's outside the root all the time, from the beginning to the end. What does this mean? It means using one screw from the beginning to the end, you can retract all the dentition back, no problem. So this buccal-shaped screw is really good. You can desterilize everything back, one screw from the beginning to the end. So this is clinically we did it, and then we retract. So from here, 18.9 to 19.2, it's done, almost done. You can see how much we can retract this. It's so easy. You just hook on and retract, retract, retract. The key is the buccal-shaped screw should not have any root interference. So this has been done such an open bite and being corrected. So it depends on teamwork. I have to count on Nancy to put a screw. And Nancy usually put a screw by apically positioned flap, and then we can retract. As long as the screw is fine, then for sure difficult case become easy. So this is buccal-shaped screw. And this young lady, for me, in day one, is a surgical case. Why? Because I cannot correct this asymmetry purely by orthodontic treatment. I cannot get rid of the protrusion without extraction. I told her, and she said, I don't care. I said, what do you care? She cared about eating the noodle. Because her teeth, front teeth cannot eat noodle. That's it, simple request. Humble request, but difficult for us. So Rancy and I call her noodle girl. Yeah. How to treat the noodle girl? This is one of my earliest cases using the buccal-shaped screw. Let's test. Is it stable to do this? So no surgery. I just want to, I don't want to normalize my face to be midnight right on. No, they're just harmonized, will be fine. So this harmonized. So 2 screw as routine, extraradicularly, and then we retract. So you can see it's so easy. So Rancy put this as the cover of the book. On the second edition, this is whole lot of desteralization. You just see the canine. So nowadays, with the buccal-shaped, if you a big class 3, it's really easy. You can see the canine, how much the canine relationship, how much the molar relationship. Molar and canine and originate and then retract so much. So it's been done. In 2 years, 4 months, it's been done. Still asymmetry, of course, as I told her. How about long term? And people always said, I always retract the lower with the lingual-ordinate on. Why? Why do you do that? I never do that. But then I figure out, because they are not using Damon system to retract. They need the lingual-ordinate. Why? Because otherwise, you retract them back, you're going to create posterior buccal crossbite. Interesting. I use the Damon. I never use any lingual-ordinate at all. So, and how about long term? This is my longest follow-up. 7 years, 5 months follow-up. Still very good. Any tongue training? Did she swallow some chewing gum or rubber band? No. I didn't train her anything because I don't think she's a myofascial issue. So you see, you get a stable occlusion, the tongue adjusts very well. So long term, still quite stable, occlusion fit very well. Now, what happens if some case come in, class 3, but upper incisor is kind of crowded? Then you have to think about, with the crowding upper dentition, you align it, you procline. That's what we don't want. Then you have to think about the IGG screw to correct the class 3. So I use the IGG screw. So this is in the new book, the 3rd edition. Ronsi drew it again for me. You have seen on the class 2 crowding, on class 1 crowding, and on class 3 also. So it's very useful. Why? Why on class 3? Because if you class 3, you have the issue of afraid of procline upper incisor, you want to retract. Then the upper screw is very helpful for retracting the upper incisor back. So this is the case. Asymmetry. I said surgical? No. She doesn't care about the asymmetry. Acceptable to her. As long as look at the lateral profile, so good. So she doesn't want any surgery. Even though many consultations already told her surgery is the only way. Why? Because the open bite like this. And the open bite like this also, at the first glance, to me, the major issue is pec lateral. If I want to get a good aesthetic result, I don't want to have the pec lateral. Then how do you get rid of the pec lateral? I need a bigger lateral. So you don't have enough space for that. So I need use open course to gain the space. Then if you use open course spring, you're going to flare the originally okay upper incisors. So how do I solve this class 3 problem, open bite problem? By retraction the upper and also retraction the lower dentition back. 2 IGC screws. So this is what we have done. We, at the initial mounting, the bite even looked worse. And then in day 1, routine, upper retraction already on the 014 copper nitride wire. But in lower, I used the class 3 elastic to retract the lower also. So I can get rid of the class 3. So this 2 IGG screw is quite useful. And from the axial view, you see it's outside the roots. So this is at the beginning. And then gradually, about a year and 1 month, it's been done. So the beautiful thing here is we didn't flare the upper incisor forward. Because we used the IGG screw, we can retract the upper back. So this is what we have done. So it's been done. And the upper, we didn't let it go forward. And you see how much we have retracted lower. Even we are using the IGG screw class 3 elastics. So much we have done. And look at the upper, the dentition. Most of the posterior upright is so well. That's a key to get rid of this open bite. You can see uprighted, lower axis. So it's been done. So let's try one more. If for the extreme case, then we use extreme method. It's a combination. Let's see the last case. This is a case he came to see me at 18. You can see the open bite is so big already. I said, this is too much. I seldom have the open bite. I've treated many, but not as big as this. Said, especially at 18, still too young. Remember this. For class 3 patients, 18 is still growing. Now, 18 to 21, 3 years later, look at this. Much more open bite. So I say, oh, you will get worse. I cannot treat you because I never do severe one like this. It's impossible for me. But she said, I have heard on the internet, said it's possible. A lot of surgical cases, you can do it non-surgery. by this word. Then I said, okay, maybe I do my best, because in the past I can do only half of this open mic. So maybe I can treat you to half. Yeah, and is that okay? Because she's a medical student. Medical student doesn't like surgery at all. Yeah. So okay. And he agreed, I agreed. I said, okay, I try. So at the beginning, again, do we need RPE? Of course. Don't think about RPE now. So compromise treatment, then orthodontic surgery. Actually, orthodontic surgery would be good for him because his mandible is kind of retrognostic. It's unusual on class 3 like this. So in day 1, I have the idea. I would place the labor arm, the longer the better, then I can intrude the molar better. So I asked Nancy, please put a screw as low as possible. So the distance will be easy, I can intrude them easy. But Nancy did a great job, really low. But now I got problem. Inflammation, too low. I got problem. It's quite an embarrassing situation. I cannot send him back. Nancy, please do his surgery again. She'll kill me. Because at that time, I never placed buccal shelf screw by myself. I have the excellent orthodontist, periodontist to do it. Why I do it? So then reluctantly, now I have to do it by myself. I cannot tell the patient that we are mistaken, they put it too low. So I do it by myself. How to do it? I do it interradicularly. This is easy for a layman to do it because not parallel outside. In the anatomical situation, not allowed. So I put it interradicularly. Now retrospectively, like IZC, look at these 2 screws here. This screw, there's a gap here. This screw here is too close to the root, to the distal root. So which side can distalize more? Of course, on the left side, right? In day 1, I should put like this. The screw should be here. So now I learned. If I do it again, I'll put a screw. I use the tap-in double film method. Then I can, for sure, I put it right in front of the mesiobuccal root. Mesial root of the second molar, like this, will be good enough to retract. But at the time, I don't have this idea at all. So I put it anyway, and I started to retract, intrude the molar. It's good. The triangular elastic straight to intrude the molar. So I not only retract, but also intrude at the same time. And these 2 screws, even though pressed by myself, are not that good, but still works quite well in this 5 months, 6 months. So you see, originally such a big gap here. Now it's close to here. Really, even though it's close to the root, but it's still distalized quite a lot. In the open bite, it's achieved my goal already, 1/2. But maybe since we can distalize it, why not think about something else? So at that time, I started using the IZC screw. So I supposedly, this may be on the way already. How do you sure? Easy. You check down the Combin CT. Yeah, that's really moved a lot already. And the root interference, you can see the Combin CT show the screw is here. This screw is still a gap here. But I have to reluctantly remove it. Why? Because this Combin CT show it right behind the distal root of the first molar. No more distalization possible. So what I did, what's next? So I just removed the buccal shelf screw. So that's why it stopped. Remember this case, the same situation. If you didn't put the screw right, then it will not move. Interradicular screw, you should place right in front of mesial root of the lower second, like upper IZC screw. So now the new one, I suggest as close to the mesial root of the lower second molar. Then I get enough. So from these 2 stages, Rancy did a superimpose. Beautifully, you can see from T1 to T2, if you compare with it, That's an amazing result of this triangular intrusion elastics. You can see we have intrude. That's very helpful on this spatial class 3 deficient mandible patient. So mandible auto-rotate a lot upward. But open bite still there. Then I come back to IGC again. IGG screw, continue retract. So in this IGG screw retract, use the class 3 elastics, and indeed, we get rid of the open bite. Luckily. I dare not to think about it, but we did it. So on the T2 to T3, if you superimpose it, you will find out what happened here. Sorry. Really, T2 to T3, this side, this time, is using the IGG screw. Do you get the same intrusion effect? No. No way, because you are applying forces from IGC, not from the lower, not the like triangular intrusion force. So first stage, we have intrusion. Second stage, not. So in overall, by combination of these two stages of treatment, buccal shape screw first to here, and then using the IGG screw, then we eventually get rid of this severe one. So this is no RP and a good result like this. And the next thing is, again, myofunctional. People will always ask me about this. Myofunctional. Look at the literature. This is an open bite. If this for me, of course, orthodontic, I can handle it. It's not big, it's easy. But it's been published in AJODO, a Japanese case, and being treated by what? By surgery. It's been done so much. Too much for surgery. And more much is this. They did a grossectomy on this patient. But I can guarantee my patient, the tongue is still complete. Nothing lost. So you can, if you like, you can copy it and go back and check on this article. Yeah. So under misdiagnosis, under mistreatment, a lot of things can happen. Okay, now go back to this case, talking about intrusion. There are many methods to intrude on the buccal shape screw. In this case, we intrude. This case, I already sent him for surgery. But the noodle girl came back. Let me rethink. This case, maybe no surgery is possible compared to noodle girl. Not that much. So I told him, how about this? You have gummy smile. Usually gummy smile, we use the default one, then sub the gummy smile. How about this? You see what I did on this patient? Crown lengthening, right? This is by Photoshop. We did a Photoshop on this because I have to treatment plan. I told him, the gummy smile, originally I thought default one would be the best. But now, future crown lengthening by Nancy will be enough. So, no more surgery. So in this case, look at the follow noodle girl's protocol. We treat him by what? The same protocol. But also notice here, what did I do here? Like elastic thread, like the open bite case. Let magnify for you. Just in 2 months, I use this hole, I can elastic thread, I intruded. Did I intrude the molar? Yes, beautifully. So the lower molar intrusion is easy if you use the buccal shape screw. So you can see, really intrusion, that seldom happen. On the buccal shape screw, you can distalize it, but difficult to get intrusion. This is a really good intrusion. The noodle girl, not only this is bite closed, auto rotation, but this is bite opening. So indeed, we can do really counterclockwise rotation of the occlusal plane. You see, we just intrusion just a little bit. This is a crazy meow people. They emphasize, you see how much I use the meow, I can intrude the molar so much. You can draw the picture so much, but you cannot really intrude the molar so much. Only the screw can do it. So indeed, we did the surgery, we did the orthodontic, and this is another long-term follow-up. And still had a good tongue, and the 5-3-year follow-up, still very good. The same protocol used the screw and the retread. So again, to prove this is quite stable, you don't have to cut the tongue. So this patient, after follow-up, still okay, and continue wear a retainer. So what is the limitation? This is the limitation. Of course, we cannot do this. Yeah. So I hope this system, simple, straightforward, can work as good as in my hands for you. Thank you for your kind attention.
As always, John, thank you for your fantastic cases, your enthusiasm. We always enjoy having you on stage. We'll take a half an hour break and be back in at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job.